Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Workforce Futurist. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia. As we think about all the ways in which we've covered this topic, we are ready to look beyond the trends and the tools and really look at a deeper question. And that is who must we become to thrive in the future of work? Technology is advancing, as we know, at the speed of sound, and AI is reshaping roles, redefining productivity, and recalibrating value. But the real differentiator isn't the technology, it's the human capacity behind it. And today's conversation, I'm so honored to have Derek Rydall, a best-selling author, globally recognized coach, and advisor to Emmy and Academy Award winners, Fortune 500 executives, and leaders across business, creativity, and the healing arts. Derek's work sits at the powerful intersection of performance, purpose, and human potential. His latest book, A Whole New Human, explores 10 essential evolutions we must make, not just to keep up with AI, but to remain relevant, resilient, and fully alive in this new age of intelligent machines. Derek, welcome to the Workforce Futurist. So excited to have you.
Thank you so much. It's really my honor and pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Well, I want to jump in. You and I had a
Yeah.
pre-call, which was great, and I'm fascinated by where you've taken this work. And I think for the person listening, it goes in a completely new direction, which is going to be refreshing and provocative at the same time. Um,
Yes.
when we think about the future of work, so much time is spent on this notion of reskilling and technology adoption, but your work goes
Yes.
deeper than that. So, talk about the human evolution and what are we missing when we focus solely on skills and tools?
Yeah, well, it's certainly true that like anything, you're not going to be replaced immediately by AI, but you will be replaced by somebody who knows how to use AI. And so it's important, like when any resume, they want to know, do you know Microsoft Word, spreadsheets? They want to know if you know the tools. So absolutely, you want to use it. But the big idea is to understand what I talk about in the book is over time, over history, through the different industrial revolutions, if you actually track the trends of human capacities, our actual human capacities atrophy with each new technology. The first original joke was like, the calculator. That was the big argument, right? And then GPS. And, I dare anybody to turn off their GPS for a week and drive around and see where you go, right?
I'd be
You'll
lost forever.
you'll
You'd
be
never
lost,
find
right?
me again.
It's literally the cognitive decline is happening. And MIT came out with a study showing even students that are using certain AI tools like ChatGPT, et cetera, their actual cognitive abilities are declining. Now, there's a way to use AI to improve your cognitive abilities, to know yourself more. But the trajectory is that we outsource more and more of our capacity. Eventually, AI will think for you. We have to learn how to think for ourselves, or we will eventually become like the characters in Wall-E that are just sitting on conveyor belts, staring at screens, and being fed by mother birds, computer mother
Right.
birds. So that's the first thing to understand is that our capacities we want to increase our capacities. We are what I call the original AI, the ancient intelligence, the ancestral intelligence, the authentic intelligence. And it was our intelligence, our ability to think for ourselves, to think creatively, originally, and innovatively that got us down from the trees and up into the stars. And so we have to remember that our capacity to think and to think again and to think deeply and to think and to self-reflect and to see things from many different angles, that's not just a nice to have. That is literally what made us the apex creatures on the planet. So we have to first protect our human capacities, and we have to start making a deeper investment in this inner technology and really understand that we are the real superintelligence. We created technology, not the other way around. We are the killer app that we've been waiting for, right? As Gandhi said, we must become the change we want to see in the world. He didn't say we must get the technology. Now, the other thing to understand is that all those upskilling and reskilling and things like that, so much of that is, you got an iPhone or a mobile phone or whatever. You know how many businesses no longer exist because they're in this phone? You know how many gadgets and things you used to have all around you that you don't have anymore? Where's your camera? Where's your telephone? Where's your, and you can go on and on. Everything got demonetized, decentralized, digitized, creatively destroyed, and now exists in this one little thing. Well, the same thing is happening with a whole bunch of human skills and abilities. Those are all being creatively destroyed and put into a large language model. And so, what's the new skill, right?
Right.
So, I learned how to use AI. And meanwhile, what you know or don't know is they're using AI, you're learning AI, you're doing it at the companies, and the AI is now training on all of your skills as an accountant, a bookkeeper, a data processor, a designer, an architect, whatever. It's training on all of that, not just so that you can be better, but so that it can be better. And eventually, all of those, what we call hard skills, are increasingly going to be done, and already about 40% of them can be done by the AI. So then you have to ask, well, what is it that only I can do? And that's the question. That's the thing you have to answer. And that's the thing I answer in the book. And these 10 evolutions are really about these 10 core capacities that if we double down on those and we develop those, we won't just survive the AI revolution and the AI age, but we will actually activate and actualize a level of potential of who we are always and have always been meant to become.
Yeah.
More vision, more intuition, more creativity, more connection, more capacity, and all of these things. And we haven't even talked about like the human connection, but that's another big thing that's not only survival for us, but ultimately our need to develop connections with other humans also develops so much of our cognitive capacities. So if we have kids growing up with AI friends, we're going to have a complete collapse in a lot of abilities in the next generation. So there's a lot more to go down to, but just from a workforce, from being in the workforce and what makes you valuable, yes, learn AI, use it, really get to know it, and maybe we'll talk a little bit later, use it to know yourself more. That's the ultimate game.
Well, and so when you talk about the inner technology, you're talking about us as human beings, our inner
Yes.
tech. I
Yes.
love this
I don't mean
notion of,
jacking yourself into Neuralink. That's not what I'm talking about.
yeah. And I love this idea that, we are the original AI, that, it
Yes.
is repeating and framing information that we have created and put into it. So you've alluded to the fact, and it's in the subtext of your title, the 10 ways, right, that we must evolve to survive. Let's start to break that down a little bit, and I don't know if we'll get to all 10 of them, but let's sort of dive into that, because I think we want to save some of the surprises. We want people to buy the book, of course, so
Sure.
we're not gonna tell all your secrets today.
And there's some
um,
really special things they'll get. They'll actually, I built AI specifically based on the book so that it will do what we're talking about, and you will have a 24/7 coach in your pocket, an evolution coach, but it will help you know yourself more and develop these evolutions more. And that's the right way to use a tool to make you stronger, not to
right.
make the tool stronger.
Not to give our agency to technology
Exactly.
ultimately,
Exactly.
right? Which I think a lot
Exactly.
of people, I don't know that anybody's consciously doing that. I would hope
No,
not,
not at
right?
all.
But I
Nobody
think,
consciously gave away their stuff to social media when they were on there scrolling and clicking. They didn't
yes,
realize they were training the algorithms to know them better than they knew themselves. And when
yes.
something knows you better than you know yourself, guess who's using who? You're not the user, you're the product, kid.
Mm,
And so we have smartphones and stupid people. So yeah, that's the thing. It's not conscious. It's the frog boiling in water,
yep.
and the way it's designed is it's the Faustian bargain. Is it's giving you something really cool, something that's just fun, and then cool, and then actually productive, and then actually profitable, and that's the slow boil where
Right.
you don't realize what the cost has been. For what does it, profit a man if he gains the world but loses his soul? And slowly but surely, the cost, the P&L of that contract starts to become in the red because you've given away way too much of your agency, creativity capacity, even if it's more productive and more profitable.
Right, right. Goodness. Okay, well, let's dive in. Shall we start with the very first? I assume that's foundational to everything
You're gonna
else.
make me remember all my titles now. So yeah, well, there's a few that matter most,
Let's
and
go
I think
there.
we should start there for sure.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
there's what I call kind of the core operating system,
Mm-hmm.
and this is important to know that again, even from a scientific or scientific perspective, or quantum physics, we really are our brain is really like a large language model. It's processed over millennia all kinds of data, has formed it into models, and then our mind interprets it and all that. So it's important to understand that AI again didn't just come out of the blue. This neural network came out of us. And the big insights, that the Enlightenment movement brought us, rationality and science and chemistry and all these things. It's also important to know, if you study the great literatures, the great ancient texts, like the Upanishads or the Buddhist text or other kinds of things, you'll see that, and even the ancient like Chinese texts, you'll see that many of the big scientific discoveries were made before science. And so again, showing like the atomic theory, the string theory, many things that led to chemistry, all kinds of things. And so that's a signal that, oh, we have the capacity, we had this capacity to know the depths of reality and nature and ourselves, even before we had microscopes or telescopes or, large language models. So that's the first thing to understand. And so the first evolution is AI will think for you, think for yourself. And so that's the very first thing. And the reason is because there's a reason why the OG self-help success guru was the Oracle of Delphi. And the core idea was know thyself. And if you don't know yourself, you can't be yourself. And you don't know what your triggers are, what your patterns are, what your values are, what matters most to you. You think you do, but you don't really. So if you don't know yourself, again, something or someone is going to know you better. And whoever knows whoever better, they win. They have control. And if they really know you, they can control you without you even knowing it. And that's where it gets very, very dangerous. So that's why know thyself is the most important thing. That's why thinking for yourself is the most important first evolution. The second reason is, if you're a gardener and you have a seed and you want to grow that seed, you have to know what the seed is, right? Because some seeds need shade, some need sun, some need lots of water, some need very little. If you don't know which is which, you're going to create the conditions that are not going to be appropriate, or it's just going to be a flip of the coin, or there's a lot of different seeds with a lot of different conditions. Sure. So it's very hit and miss. You have to know what that seed is so you can create the right conditions for it to flourish and to even grow at all. Well, the same thing is true with us. If you don't know what is that unique seed pattern within you, what is that you're really made of and made for? Because you are made of and made for something. It's not random. It's not accidental. Don't believe anybody that tells you it is. It's not like everywhere in nature, everything comes from a seed pattern, but you. There is a pattern in you, and you are here for a reason. And you are here as an answer to a need, a solution, like everything else in an ecosystem. It doesn't just randomly show up. The squirrel shows up so that it can be the gardener of the forest or the farmer of the forest and plant all those acorns and forget most of them so that they grow into oak trees. So there's a pattern in you, but you got to know what it is. Right. Because if you don't know what it is, you can't be in a collaborative relationship with yourself to create the right conditions that really match it, that are really in alignment and in integrity with it. And the other principle is that in nature can never grow a pattern that is not in the seed. In other words, it's an acorn, but it has self-awareness like we do. And it's looking around and going, those apple trees seem to be really doing well. I think I want to be an apple tree. I'm going to go to school to be an apple tree. I'm going to work really hard to be. That's going to be one bad apple because it's an acorn. Right. And so nature will never support it. And so often, and I've been doing this for 25 years, working with coaches, creators, entrepreneurs, Fortune 500 execs, et cetera. And people struggle the most struggle, hit the ceiling, can't quite get to the next level or even get off the ground, most often because they're trying to be something in someone that they're really not.
Right.
But their parents conditioned them, their educational system, their religions, their peers, whatever. So think for yourself is the beginning of everything else.
Yeah.
If you don't, it's kind of like, that analogy, if you don't know where you're going, every road will get you lost. If you don't know who you are, every road will get you lost. So you got to know yourself. And again, the media is screaming at us all the time. It's weaponizing content with everything deep fakes and all these kinds of things that are happening, and so much pressure to keep up and so much temptation to go along, to get along, and all of that. If you're not anchored, I know who I am. I know what I stand for.
Right.
I have an understanding. I have an inner standing. Now I can have a powerful outer standing. And that's how you eventually become outstanding, is because you're rooted in you and you cannot be moved. And in a world where AI is going to commodify everything, faster, cheaper, better, that humans can do, what's going to stand out is the person that knows themselves, the person that's authentic, the person that's playing and running the original algorithm and the original source code that they came with. That's what's going to be a signal in the noise. So that's just evolution one. And there's a lot more to that, obviously.
Yeah. So, but it's a powerful place to start. And it makes me think about when I'm coaching individuals, women and men, one of the places we start with is, what is your purpose? What is your unique mission, vision, and values? Not the one on the wall in your organization, but speaking to the professional that's listening, it's why are you here? What is your inner motivator that gets you out of bed in the morning, that makes you light up, right? And to that point, it's hard to lean into what is authentically you if you're living into other people's expectations of what you can and should be, etc.
Yes.
So I love this idea, and I think from a professional place, it's so powerful that you take time to be introspective and know, what is it that drives me? What am I here to do? What is the value I'm supposed to add? And I think we shortchange that. I think,
You
I
think?
think I do. We all do,
Where
right?
in all the entire educational system do they even, which class is it again? Where maybe it's a little bit of philosophy, but mostly it's about knowing other philosophers' ideas. It's not about sitting in class and going, now we're going to spend this hour to self-reflect, to
Yes.
contemplate yourself
Right.
and understand no.
Yeah.
It's education. The real meaning of education is educare or educere, which means to educe and to pull out of someone. So the real root of education is there's something in you, a seed pattern, a wisdom. We're going to now develop an environment for that to come out, to emerge, to educe. But what educational has become is, you don't know anything, you don't have anything, you're an empty shell. We're going to fill you up.
Right.
We're going to give you what you need to know to be the cog in the industrial system that has been built. And yes, you need to learn skills and all that, but it's not at all what the root of education is and where it started, and back in the days of, the mystery schools and the great academy and all of that, where it all emerged. So we've really lost the plot. But the people that truly have succeeded, the people we admire the most, the people that we aspire to the most, whether they be the great entrepreneurs, the great artists, the great change makers, thought leaders, spiritual lights, religious leaders, whatever, the truly great ones that have changed the course of history, changed the course of industries, and made a big impact on our lives, those individuals were the ones that somewhere along the line, by grace or by effort, they chose, as the Bible says, to come out from amongst them. They chose to know themselves, right? Steve Jobs wasn't selling phones. People didn't wait in line all night and all morning to get a phone. They waited in line to answer their call, because he was living a life. And again, like him or hate him for his flaws, I'm
Right.
just talking
Right.
about
Right.
this one piece, because he was building something that was based on what I call the life code of his own life. That there's a life code in all of us. There's a unique code, a unique blueprint. And he was It was emerging out of that. Same thing with Harley Davidson. They weren't selling motorcycles, right? They were selling a zeitgeist, a value system that was unique to the original founders, et cetera. Oprah wasn't doing a talk show. It looked like a talk show, it smelled like a talk show, but it was church. And so there's something, when you look at these individuals, again, there's something about where they decided, either through pain, trauma, frustration, they just didn't fit anywhere. So they're like, well, I guess I'm not going to fit anyways. I might as well be me. As I like to joke, in the Bible, there was a typo. It's not the meek shall inherit the earth, it's the freak. So there's a typo, guys.
Awesome.
I'm sorry. Let your freak flag fly. You got it. So
Be
we have
you.
to, right? You got to be you, because everybody else is
Everybody
taken.
else is taken.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's this is also in the book, and you said it appropriately. The first step is think for yourself, get to know yourself, self-reflect. What do I care about? What really matters to me, et cetera, et cetera. Not just the matter, but what matters. There's matter and there's what matters, and they're two different things. But the second one is, in fact, as an evolution, is robots will replace us, become irreplaceable. And that is all about diving into this, what I call life code, and a process by which you can discover that your true life's work and life's purpose is encoded in your life story. All the clues are there. I was an actor and a screenwriter and for a while, and for many years. But when you study the great plays, even just the great fiction, the story is not accidental, right? It's authored, it has authority, it has purpose, it has a theme, and the character is going through and growing through things that are specifically designed to awaken or activate in them certain capacities, literally an evolutionary process. Evolution happens through challenge. Drama is designed to create pressure and challenge for the character. As Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage and men and women are but players upon it. Your life is likened to a play. We tell stories and write plays or movies because it's an external fractal of how our minds operate. And so the life we live is a beautifully authored play. And when you begin to understand that, you can start to read the signs and read the clues and see that core wound was really a core initiation, that lack was really what drove you to dig deeper and find the source within yourself. It's in the valley that you discover and develop the mountaintop mindset, not on the mountaintop. If you don't have it before you get there, you ain't getting there. So you can start to see that in your life. And that does a few things. It helps you see, oh, I've been thinking only from the perspective of the character I'm playing, not from the actor, not from the author. And now from that larger perspective, I can start to have a real appreciation from being a drama king. I can start to have a real appreciation for being so neurotic. It's like,
Right.
wow, I'm a really interesting character.
Yeah.
Shakespeare would have been proud.
Yeah.
And you start to go, I kind of like myself. He's a cool character. And then you also start to see, oh, wait, there's a pattern here. Oh, I'm starting to see there's a pattern. There's a core story that I'm believing. There's a story I'm living in, and in a character I'm playing. There's a map. There's an identity. Oh, wait, it's just cycling itself over and over through my whole story. And then look at when I made that big leap and started to grow. And then when I fell back, oh, I see the difference. I started to focus in a different place. I started to care about something that I really cared about. And then I didn't fully trust it. And then I did. And you start to see your life isn't so complicated. There's a core pattern, core values, a core vision. There's something you're really made of and made for. And there was a limited belief system. And based on conditioning, based on the core wound, which is that moment you had to believe a lie to survive. But then you start to see the beauty of the design, that it's a transformational journey. And if you're sitting here or listening or watching now, you're here, whereas a lot of people that went through what you went through aren't, because you grew in some way. You already have very specific lived wisdom, universal, but unique and specific through your life experience. That is embodied as your life code, a unique as I like to say, the workshop you've been living is the one you're meant to be giving, right? And that's the one, AI has all the universal knowledge. It doesn't have a point of view. It doesn't have taste. It doesn't have wisdom. You have all of that, and you already have it. That's really important. You don't have to get better. Yes, keep growing and developing your capacities, but the gift you're here to give, you've already got, and you've lived something. And when you understand that and you decode it and codify it, two things happen. You discover what is the thing that nobody else can do quite like me. It's universal, but like there's a universal acorn, but the way the wind is blowing in the climate when that oak tree grows is going to create a very unique oak tree. So there's a universal pattern, but it's uniquely expressing through you and with a unique mission. And it literally resonates with what we call our tribe, our avatar, our audience. They have the same life code. And when you are speaking from there and messaging from there and creating from there, and it's woven into whatever it is you do, whether you're an author, a coach, a teacher, a creator, an entrepreneur, a mother, a father, it doesn't matter. As Gandhi said, my life is my message. When it's embodied in whatever you're being and doing, it naturally resonates and calls up and calls to you the people, places, and opportunities that are a match for that. Just like in an ecosystem, everything fits. You fit. But you have to know yourself first, and then you have to discover this unique pattern or program or code. Now, the second thing that happens is you heal your life, because you start to go, oh, that I thought I was just a victim, that was from the point of view of the character. But now from the point of view of the actor and the author, I see the gift there, right? I see that, Judas had to betray Jesus for Jesus to become Jesus, or the bad guy has to be a really good bad guy for the good guy to become the good guy, etc. That is literally the way story is done. And you start to recalibrate your whole life meaning. And the meaning of your life goes from it's been so hard, or it wasn't fair, or I'll show them, or I'll prove it to them, or I'm not enough, or I'm not lovable, or I'm just not wired that way, and some people are special, whatever the story is. And you start to go, oh, no, my life was amazing. It was challenging. It was a great adventure. But wow, what an awesome play. Like that would make a great play. And you appreciate it, and you reclaim and reactivate a lot of the latent or repressed capacities of self-love, compassion, forgiveness, empowerment, agency, self-esteem, confidence, etc. And that becomes the raw material now that allows you to really take a quantum leap in your life's work. You know yourself, you know what you're really made of and made for. You know that your life was not a mistake, but was preparing you to live an even greater purpose and make a bigger difference. You feel more empowered and confident, and now you have the agency to move forward. So those are the first most critical evolutions. It's also why it says in Proverbs, where there is no vision, the people perish, right? Meaning where there is no people that know themselves and know where they're going, they stagnate. They end up lemmings following people off the cliff. So that's the first two most important evolutions.
I want to dig into a couple just practical takeaways from that. So, for the person listening, first of all, several things I'm hearing. I'm still hearing that there's free will. We have a purpose. We have something that we're here to be more than just to exist. We make choices along the way. I'm not hearing you say that you're not choosing your path, but finding your path to really elevate and live into this amazing potential is part of the journey.
Yes.
For the person that's going, wow, this sounds really woo woo. and by the way, and I've said this on my podcast, I've said it other places. I've had my own sort of awakening, if you will, in the last year, where I went from so many years of corporate and thinking that I had to lean into academics and facts and data to be credible, often as the only woman, or for a while there, not very recently, the youngest, right, in the room.
Yeah.
to a time when somebody that I had lost touch with actually reached out and said, "I love what you're doing, but I'll use your Oprah example, and some will get this." She said, "You're showing up like Gayle King, and you're really an Oprah Winfrey." And I'm like, I totally get what you're saying, right? I'm leaning into this very cerebral, academic, data focused, and yet there's the side of me that has this greater calling to connect with people on a much
Yes,
deeper level. And so I've been unpacking and discovering that, and I think that's a both and. I don't think that they
absolutely.
exist separately. So for the person that might be going, I'm hanging in there still, but wow, this sounds a little woo woo. I think from a practical application, it's exactly what I coach and teach around, which is, what are your natural gifts and talents? What are the things you do with excellence, spontaneously, without thinking,
Yes.
consistently, etc.? And how do you do more of that in a way that allows you to make whatever kind of living you choose, so that you're living into that life's purpose and what you're meant to do and meant to be? And then you take it a step further, really, which is that deeper knowing, and then that deeper, we all have significance. So whether regardless of the job you do, the role you play in life, the crap that's happened, right, the difficulties, etc., we all have a purpose and we all have significance. And I think there's hope in that.
Yes.
And I think professionally, what that says is that, and maybe your significance and your purpose is bigger than the job that you do. Maybe it's elsewhere. Maybe it's as a mother or a father or a sister or a caregiver, or it could be a lot of places. But for the person that's listening that says, "Okay, I'm hanging in there, but how do you do that? Like, what are the practical ways that I learn a little bit more about who I am and what my blueprint is supposed to be?"
Yeah, well, the short answer is get the book.
Okay, I'm all for
Because
that.
and also because I'm literally giving you tools I've built off of 25 years of research and experience and coaching and training hundreds of thousands of people,
Right,
including Fortune 500 executives
right.
and millionaires and billionaires and you know and everyday people all around the world. And seeing, if there's one thing I'm an expert at, there's not many things, let's say, but let's say there's one thing, it's pattern recognition.
Mm.
And which is also what AI is an expert at, interesting enough. Maybe I am an AI,
Yeah, you're
um,
a bot.
but but and I've seen there's certain patterns, and there's patterns in human beings, and you start to see them, and after 25 years, you just see the same things. And so I'm kind of a name that tune kind of guy, where I can listen to a person for a few minutes and start to unravel their life story and their meaning in a way that looks like I'm doing magic. It's not magic, it's deep pattern recognition. And so it's not woo. I mean, do I like a little woo? Yeah, but nowhere as much as my wife. I mean, that's her art behind me. She's definitely the queen and the high priestess and the woo woo. I'm very much, I've studied quantum physics and neuroscience and computer but I've also gone all the way down into the depths of spiritual work, but I've also learned most of what I've learned, and this is important. We didn't talk about it, but none of this is theoretical, right? I had a near-death experience twice. I almost died from an overdose. I almost died from drowning. On my journey to try to improve and fix and heal myself, it drove me to drink and do drugs and almost kill myself. And then I went through a period of, I became a monk, pulled out of society. I mean, I've gone through a lot of stuff. And then I, divorced after 23 years. And then my son died. And all manner of incredible, had my fortune stolen from me. So this is, I have evidence that when you understand who you are and what you're made of and made for, and when you apply these principles and you design a life that is increasingly the right condition for who you really are, you don't just survive the challenges, the crises like AI and job loss and economic downturns and loss of fortune and tragedy. You don't just survive it. If you're willing, if you know who you are, you become stronger because of it. You don't just get broken, you get broken open, and you discover, like evolution, that in the midst of that, it calls even more out of you. I've made more money because my money was stolen from me, right? I've learned to love even more greatly myself and others because of the heartbreak, etc. So you can develop a runner's heart and you can develop a lover's heart. And you need both in this new, brave new world. So even though there's certain language and jargon and it can seem a little vague, it's woo-woo because from the moment you were a baby and you were just off in your own world, your parents started rattling things in front of you and saying, no, look over here. Don't look inside. Don't be connected to yourself. I mean, you're in school and you're just doodling and hey, Timmy, over here. Look at the board. Look at me. Don't look in yourself. So we've been trained, right? To not, the old joke, we're going to hide the secret of life. The council of people, well, where should we hide it? At the bottom of the ocean. Oh no, they'll eventually go there. On the moon. No, they'll eventually go in there. And if they're going to all these different places, I go, I know, we'll hide it inside them. They'll never look there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why it seems woo.
Right.
Because you don't really know you. And all these journeys of, the fountain of youth and all that, that's telling you a myth about you. It's at the fountain of you. Another typo. It's not the fountain of youth. It's the fountain of you. That's where the magical elixir is. But you have to drink from the fountain of you. And we haven't been taught that. And so that sounds so weird. Well, how am I going to pay my rent, man? How am I going to get a promotion at the work? This is how. When you know this, you walk into a room, people interviewing, they don't know what they really need, but when they see it, they know. And when they see a person with agency and they're tapped in and they're passionate because they know what they're for and they've done their homework and they have ideas, they're going to be like, damn, this person is a leader. This person could bring something. Bob, get in here. You got to meet this person,
Right.
And so that's the kind of thing that's going to make the difference. When you know yourself, when you know what you're made of and made for, and you can be yourself. And again, those are just the first two evolutions. And how do you do it? Well, again, I talk about it in the book, obviously. It's a manual for this. And I'm giving you the AI tool to work with you personally. So it will show you and it will help you see your patterns. It will help you uncover your journey. And there's a lot of other things I'm not sharing. I'm going to give you when you grab the book and you go to my site and do all that stuff. Just put your info in there because I really want to prepare you, not just to get a great inspired moment, not just to have some new theories to share at cocktail parties and look smart, but actually to set you up for success because we are going to go through a very turbulent time. And it's going to be very disruptive. It's already very disruptive. Look around you. And it's not going to get less disruptive. It's going to get more. As more content floods the markets, more deep fakes, instead of 100,000 songs on Spotify, 10 million, instead of 3 or 4 or 5 million, 3 million books, 10 million, 20 million, instead of a few million podcasts, 10 million, 20 million. It's going to become so noisy. And we're not made for a lack of order. We start to get anxious. And when we get anxious, we start to do even crazier things, or we withdraw. And then that leads to even more chaos. And then that leads to outer forces coming in and promising order. And that leads to authoritarianism. So we don't want that, right, folks? So we have to reclaim our agency now while we've still got some. So this is a mission for me. This isn't just a job. My mission since I was a kid has been to answer the question. I know there's something in me that's meant for more, and my dad doesn't really like it. My mom, nobody can really help me. And so I set out on a quest. I'm going to figure out what I'm really here for, and then I'm going to prove that I can be successful doing it. And so my mission has been for 25 years to help people discover who they really are, their true identity, not the one they had to create to survive. That true identity, which is a perfect idea, perfect pattern, and how to live it abundantly and successfully and sustainably in a way that they don't have to sacrifice what really matters. They don't have to sacrifice who really matters, and they don't have to sacrifice the planet and the environment. They can live a really, truly integrated, rich, fulfilling, purpose-driven, and abundant life and make the difference they came for. Because I believe when more of us are doing that, like nature, It's all connected to a larger pattern, and we will be able to create a world that works for the highest good of all, a real utopia. You will never create a utopia by outer progress, outer technology. Look at where we were, 100 years ago, and look at us now. Are we happier? We have so much more money, so much more abundance. This thing was promised to make everything more productive. And are you actually happier? Or do you even feel more productive? Right? And it's the same con job going on right now. Again, I'm not anti-tech. I'm just pro-human. And we have to recognize no amount of outer success, no amount of outer technology, no amount of outer progress and productivity will ever, ever give us what we hunger for most. It's like potato chips. You can't eat just one.
That's right.
It's literally chemically designed that way so that you can't eat just one. And evolutionarily, we were designed to always be making progress. So there's no end to it. It's a trap. But there is one place we can begin to make progress that while there's also no end to it, it will bring us what we've been seeking outside and bring us a sense of real meaning, real purpose, real connection, real fulfillment instead of just fulfillment, right? Real fulfillment, real abundance, real peace, right? And when we have that, yes, we'll keep wanting to grow and express, but instead of always being on our way somewhere, we'll be coming from wholeness, from greater peace, from worthiness. I'm worthy enough. I'm valuable enough. I know that I matter. I love myself. I'm good. Now let's go.
Yeah.
Right? That's a very different starting point than once I get there, once she likes me, once I have that amount in the bank, once I get that on the scorecard, then I'll feel good enough and worthy enough and peaceful enough. Come on, folks. How long have you been telling ourselves this? That's a lie. So, and the technology is only going to keep dangling that carrot. So that's why this is about, and Gandhi even said this, become the change. All the great teachers, masters, philosophers, they all understood this. Now, it's not always easy, but that's the real gold, is when you know who you are and you know and feel the value of your life and you recognize, when you were in school, and maybe you didn't have this, but I did. It's like when I actually was smart, sometimes I was a smart ass, but when I was smart and the kid was like, who do you think you are? God's gift to the world.
Right.
And I'm like, no, come on, man. Now it's like, yeah. Who do you think you are?
Exactly.
Right. And so that's when you know that about yourself, that's not ego.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. Ego inflates or deflates. So if you're deflating yourself, that's ego, right? And so this is what this is about. It's empowering, it's infectious, it's contagious, it's attractive, literally, physically, and otherwise. And so when you really know who you are and I walk you step by step through how to be that, because it is scary. It takes courage. Courage is one of these soft skills that you need to develop. That means you're afraid and it's right anyways. This is who you are. This is what you're meant to do or be or want to do and be. You have to embrace courage. And so I walk people through the practical strategies to actually know what the truth is, know what the answer is, and then how to actually design a life, design practices, and use AI to know yourself so good that you then have a step-by-step plan, etc. So even though these concepts might seem a little big to some people or a little woo-woo, the ultimate application in my whole journey has been very much, I don't know if I can cuss on here, so I won't, but get shit done.
Yeah.
Like real world results. I'm not interested in just theory. I love waxing philosophical, but it's the results that matter, right? And I've proven it out by helping many, many people go from broke, bankrupt, to more money they've ever made, to launching their life's work, to hiding, to finally launching multiple books. I've done it all with all kinds of people. So all of that technology, that human technology, is built into the book and into the apps that I've created for people.
Derek, I love this so much.
And we can get more specific if we have time and need to. I just
Yeah,
wanted
I
to be
think
clear.
sadly we're running up against time, which we're going to have to potentially we'll have a part two if we keep the
Sure.
series
Hey,
going. But I just want to reiterate, a whole new human. You guys are going to want to pick this up. It's in pre-sale right now. It hits store shelves at the end of January, I believe. Right, Derek?
February 24th.
That's right. February 24th, end of February. I'm fast forwarding the months already. February 24th, but you can go ahead and pre-sale. That way you're getting all the extra goodies. Derek
Yeah.
Rydall, and it's Rydall. If you're listening and
Yeah.
not watching, we'll have it all in the show notes so that you guys
Great.
know where to find him. Go to his website. Um, you know,
And that's
my
the
book.
thing, even if they're pre-ordering it, that's why I'm also including these. It's like over $1,200 worth of tools. I mean, it's taken me hundreds of thousands to develop the knowledge, but I'm giving that to them so that if they, because once the book gets published, I'm not necessarily going to have all those free tools that go with
That's
it,
right.
but I want to get you going now. I want to give you an edge, and everything is changing every week. An extra month or two is going to really make a difference and prepare you. So I encourage people to do that.
100%. You guys are going to have things to hold you over and get you engaged and moving and going in the few weeks before you have the book arriving in your mailbox. And
Including
so,
some live coaching and training with me personally. That's included as well.
oh my goodness, that's a
Yeah.
deal of a lifetime, you guys. Sign up straight away. And again, we'll put this in the show notes. We are recording live, but at the same time, for those who miss the live version, as Derek knows, we will be publishing this in a recorded session so people can listen back. So even if you've listened back and it's a few weeks from now, don't miss the opportunity. I feel that we've been extremely blessed. You've had a lot of life experience. Your journey has not always been met with things that were easy. And you talk about those things openly. And I think that takes a lot of courage. And I think it's a blessing to individuals who also are struggling through either past or present pain, difficulty, life, struggles, etc. But
Yeah.
this moment of knowing that we're here for something bigger and being really clear on who we are and who we're called to be, and then living into that
Yeah.
truly is filled with so much joy. And from a professional perspective, I can say this with, absolute confidence. It puts you in the most authentic place you'll ever be, where it just does not feel like work. It feels like I'm doing what I was born to do for all the right reasons. And if you're struggling with restlessness or stuck or stagnant, a really good place to start is knowing yourself. And you can start by getting all the tools and the insights and the coaching and the AI supported work from Derek's website. So thank you for
Yeah.
being on
Yeah.
the show. You are
Thank you.
amazing. I will continue to follow you. He has a
Thanks,
huge
Dr.
following on
Cynthia.
Facebook as well. All his social handles will drop in the show notes. Derek, have an amazing rest of your day, and thank you for the gift that you are to the world.
Oh, thank you. Likewise. Right back at you.
All right, just stay on with me 1 second.